You already know exactly what a cowboy hat looks like. You didn't even have to think about it. Wide brim, tall crown, maybe a little dent down the middle. That hat is everywhere. Movies, country album covers, rodeo posters, Halloween costumes. Most people assume it's just style, a fashion choice that stuck. Except that's backwards. The hat wasn't designed to look a certain way. It was designed to keep a person alive out on the open plains. And the cowboy look showed up decades later, borrowed almost entirely from an entertainer and a marketing man. Let's start with the actual invention. In 1865, a Philadelphia hat maker named John B. Stetson was out west in Colorado, broke and recovering from a lung illness doctors had basically given up on. He'd spent time around Mexican vaqueros, cattle herders who wore wide sombreros to survive the sun. Stetson took that idea and built his own version out of beaver fur felt, high crown, wide flat brim, no crease anywhere. He called it the Boss of the Plains. It took roughly 42 beaver pelts to produce one high-quality version, and it sold for as little as $5 or up to $30 for the premium beaver felt model. Real money for the time, because it needed to survive years of daily abuse, not one afternoon of looking good. Here's the part that actually matters. Before Stetson's hat existed, cowboys didn't have a signature hat at all. They wore whatever they had lying around. Leftover Civil War caps, derby hats, sailor hats, even coonskin caps. There was no iconic cowboy silhouette because there was no dedicated cowboy hat. Stetson built one on purpose, and he built it for one reason: survival on an unshaded, unsheltered stretch of land with nothing between you and the weather. The wide brim wasn't a style flourish. It was shade for your eyes during 10-hour days in direct sun. And it was rain protection, angled just enough to funnel water off your face and neck instead of straight down your collar. The tall crown wasn't decorative either. It trapped a layer of air above your scalp, insulating your head from both blistering heat and freezing cold, depending on the season. And in a pinch, that crown doubled as a bowl. Cowboys used it to carry water back to their horse or straight to their own mouth, cupped hands optional. And here's something almost nobody expects. The original Boss of the Plains had no crease at all. It came out completely round, dome-shaped with a flat brim like a blank canvas. Stetson didn't add the dents and creases you picture today. Those came later, entirely by accident. From where? A rider would grab the crown the same way every single day to put it on or take it off, and after months of the same grip in the same spot, the felt would start to dent inward on its own. Every crease you see on every cowboy hat today started as a personal habit, not a factory design. So, if the shape wasn't designed, where did the cowboy hat image actually come from? Not the ranch, the stage. Around the 1880s, a performer named Buffalo Bill Cody started touring with his Wild West show, and he needed his hat visible from the back of a packed arena. So he had custom versions made with exaggerated, oversized brims, bigger than anything an actual working cowboy would wear day to day. Audiences loved it. Decades later, when Hollywood started making westerns, an actor named Tom Mix took it even further, wearing enormous high-crowned hats that became known as 10-gallon hats, despite the fact that no cowboy hat has ever held anywhere close to 10 gallons of anything. The name and the exaggeration were pure showbiz. That's the same pattern you'll find behind almost every iconic image from this era. A practical tool gets invented for a brutal, unglamorous job. Then an entertainer picks it up, exaggerates it for visibility, and that exaggerated version becomes the picture everyone remembers, while the plain, functional original quietly disappears from public memory. Real working cowboys wore modest, weathered, personally shaped hats. The towering, dramatically creased version came from a circus tent and a movie set, not a cattle drive. And the swap runs deeper than most people realize. We didn't just change how the hat looked, we replaced an actual working tool with a costume. Stetson's hat was built to solve real, immediate problems: sunstroke, exposure, dehydration, hours on horseback with nothing but sky overhead. Nobody needed a crease. Nobody needed 10 gallons of anything. They needed to survive a shift that could kill you through heat stroke alone. By the early 1900s, Stetson Slackery was producing millions of hats a year, and the Texas Rangers became the first law enforcement agency in the country to officially adopt the style into their uniform, which tells you something. This wasn't a trend chasing attention. It became infrastructure, something people who depended on it for their lives kept choosing, long after the fashion versions came and went. So next time you see that instantly recognizable silhouette, on an album cover, a rodeo poster, a costume rack in October, remember what you're actually looking at. Not a fashion statement, a survival tool invented by a sick man who'd spent time with vaqueros, refined by decades of actual use, and only turned into a spectacle once entertainers realized it looked good under a spotlight. The real cowboy hat didn't need a crease, a nickname, or 10 gallons of anything. It just needed to keep one person alive under an unforgiving sky, one long day at a time.